Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'd like to represent the PPSwap team to give an introduction to blockchains, crypto, and NFT. I'm not going to talk about the PPSwap project, but you can look at our Twitter, the PPSwap, to look at more information. So, what is blockchain, first of all? Well, before I talk about that, let's look at the history of blockchain a little bit, actually. If you look at over here, actually, the idea of a chain of blocks actually start from 1991. And then in 1998, there's a big goal trying to solve the problem of basically double spending issue. And then the real blockchain start from 2008, which is the Bitcoin paper published by Satoshi. We don't know who he is, maybe an individual, maybe a Japanese, or maybe it's a team. But in the next year, 2019, the Bitcoin is implemented, and that is the first de facto cryptocurrency that is still very popular today, still dominating, right? And then in 2014, Ethereum comes up. One difference that Ethereum trying to provide is it's a platform. So not only it's a crypto, but on top of it, you can you can create other crypto as well. We call tokens. So that found the first ecosystem on top of Ethereum, and today is still the dominating blockchain. Although we have other blockchain that are coming up, a lot of so-called Ethereum killer. And then 2021 is really, I would say, the first year that a lot of applications, including DeFi, NFT, Multiverse, fly. So what is blockchain? Well, in its layman term, it's actually a network. But this is a different network that different from traditional uh, internet, and also from cloud computing, for example. Because here the main idea is replication of data, replication of code. Every node have exactly same code, same data. So that means even a lot of code are compromised, the correctness of the whole system is going to be kept intact. It's very hard to tamper with the blockchain unless you own like 51% of all the nodes, which is practically is very difficult. And then, for example, we have Bitcoin. We talk about Bitcoin, and then we have block Ethereum, and then we have Binance Smart Chain, and between different blockchain, the difference usually lies in performance, how many transactions can perform, and then security, and so on. Okay, and the scalability, how many users can be using the blockchain. So even those Ethereum killer, they are trying to basically compete along the performance, security, and reliability. But why blockchain? Well, essentially there are two key features that blockchain deliver. One is the trust. Okay, for the first time now, stranger can trust a stranger. Stranger can trade with the strangers without knowing each other, and not relying on third party like a company, Apple or Google, but simply rely on the infrastructure, simply rely on the code and the network itself. Because using cryptography and a consensus protocol, now we are able to trust the blockchain, and because of which both of us trust the blockchain, now that establishes a trust between you and me. And the other one is related, is because of decentralization. Actually, decentralization also provide the trust as well, in addition to the consensus protocol. So that means the blockchain is going to be able to uh, not not suffering from the single point of failure, right? Because you have a decentralization. So if one computer fail, not a big deal. Even you have 49% of the computer have problem, it still be able to have the property of fault tolerance. Many applications are now possible because of blockchain. Many of them are traditionally uh, transferring to the blockchain, including, of course, money transfer. Now, international transfer becomes easier. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but that's technology-wise, that's a good thing. And then financial exchange And then also DeFi, basically you can lend and borrow money over blockchain. You borrow crypto, and some people also ask, oh, okay, I borrow crypto, can I use it as a dollar? Yeah, of course. All of this centralized exchange allows you to sell your crypto into dollars and then wire to your own bank. Uh, and also, I'm not going to talk about each one, but for example, 12 over here, logistics and supply chain tracking, people are able to, put all information in terms of logistics on blockchain, and it's transparent. Everybody can look at it, and can verify it, and nobody can change it. So it's much reliable, and nobody own basically the blockchain. So it's like the internet. Nobody can manipulate the internet and manipulate it. But it's more reliable than the internet itself. So some people don't want to say blockchain could be the next internet. But of course, it's not going to replace the current internet. And in terms of investment, you can see the predicted market growth of blockchain is growing, as you can see from 2018 all the way to 2025. So and over here, every geographical location contribute differently. But I want to talk about two things over here. One is cryptocurrency and the other NFT. They are closely related. Cryptocurrency is we are talking about one owner. We don't have two people own the same Bitcoin. That will be terrible. And the same person cannot spend the same Bitcoin twice. So that's called double spending issue. And that has been a problem that people have been working on for a long time. And they don't have a solution, and eventually we do. And the second one is easy to transfer. It should be done by people like you and me that don't have a technical background. We should be able to do it. And then anonymous, so privacy can be reserved. We don't have to do KYC, know your customer. We can only make our public key available, our account address available. So if people have no way to associate our public address with our private information, then our privacy will be reserved. But it could be bad, money laundering of those issues. But this is not a new issue. It's just old issue in a new form. And then we talk about decentralized, Bitcoin, Ethereum, PPS could be the examples. But more excitingly to me is I want to talk about NFT, which stands for non-fungible token. Okay. But people keep asking, what is non-fungible token? And some people give you explanation, you still don't make sense of it. But in my understanding, in layman's term, NFT is simply put a picture on top of existing crypto. Think about a Bitcoin plus picture that give you NFT, so to speak. But a little bit more than that is each NFT have the so-called unique ID. And this is different from NFT, different from traditional crypto, in which one Bitcoin has no difference from the other. You only have the balance in your wallet, how many Bitcoin you have. But you don't have the difference that this Bitcoin is different from the other one. No difference. It's just a number. But here, each NFT is going to be different. Okay, so that's what I want to emphasize. That NFT is number one. They have ID. So one NFT and the other NFT could be different, and not only different in picture, but also different in ID, and that might contribute to different price. That each NFT could have different price, even they are in the same collection. And number two is don't think NFT is just a picture or a song or music. It could be more than that because one analogy is NFT is the key. Unless you know what the key is going to open. Is it going to open a car? Is it going to be open a house? Is it going to be open a yacht? Or is it going to be open, services or utilities? You don't know what it's worth, right? And the value of NFT can also be increasing because people can continue to develop utility services and add to it, to the NFT, and then the value of the NFT can go up. But in reality, NFT doesn't have to be associated with just a picture. Could be a music, could be a 3D model, could be a game, could be software, anything that could be digital and sometimes physical. I'm going to talk about that later. And one also difference from marketing point of view, crypto from NFT is crypto you can always sell because you have this liquidity pool. in decentralized exchange and in centralized exchange, you have the so-called money maker, market maker. So anytime you sell, somebody is going to buy it. Anytime you buy, somebody is going to sell it. But not for NFT. NFT usually don't have liquidity pool unless you have buyer. You cannot sell it. You can list over here, but you have to wait for your buyer. So it's a little bit harder for NFT to dump the market. It's still possible, but it's a little bit harder because you cannot simply just dump into the liquidity pool. If you look at NFT market, you can look at OpenSea.io and LooksReal.org. I'm going to give you a few examples. For example, first one is CryptoPunk. Over here, probably each one maybe it's going to be worth like a house. It's crazy, right? But that's what it is. So, but one misconception is don't think of NFT as just a picture. I mean, if you should look at this kind of picture, I mean, why it's very hard to argue why this picture, no matter how artistic it is going to be worth half a house, right? And then another example which is very interesting to me is the WallStreetChat, in which over here, it's not just picture again. This each of these is like $200, 250, but they only have 3,333 of them. So think of if you hold one of these, basically you hold you know, one share of the total stocks. So think of the company only issue 3,333 stocks. So whatever value the company has, you're going to have a share of it. So in this case, that's like a stock shareholder. And then Multiverse, like for example, Cryptokitty, they are selling different uh, game items or equipment, like this motorcycle, like the canoe, like the chopper, and then you can use them in the multiverse. And not only you can use them, you can rent it out. So people have to rent it. Of course, they're going to rent it using crypto, but you can sell the crypto. So basically, you are going to get some passive income by owning them over here. And then they also pay you a so-called APY, annual percentage yielding very well. Some of them, like the motorcycle over here, they are able to pay you like over 200% APY. But of course, I want to say every NFT, every crypto investment is risky. You can only invest what you can lose, and not your financial advice over here. So all of these examples I use over here is just for educational entertainment purposes. Dumb and not suggesting you invest one or the other. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few forms of NFT. The first one, of course, is NFT is art. So, but NFT is not art. Okay, so this is different. Just because you create an NFT, you do a few pictures, we cannot say that's art. But art can be sold as NFT. So you can consider uh, this is a medium. Okay, I use the analogy say NFT is basically a new paper for art. You can draw the art in traditional paper, but you can also draw the digital art and sell it and as NFT. And one of the advantage, of course, is the copyright issue. It's better protected. And NFT will protect your copyright issue much better. Of course, it's not going to be 100%, but just like security, make it more secure. We never said, you know, there's no leak. It's just becoming more secure. And then NFT is music, selling music in a new way as NFT. And one of the advantage, of course, just like art, is you are able to maintain a loyalty. You are able to have a community. You are able to do some promotion because, whoever own your first few NFT, if you want to give them more return, more perks, you can do so. You don't need to remember their name. This can be done anonymously. So I think that's an advantage of selling art and selling music is NFT because you can maintain the creator and collector relationship much better. Think about in business, we have the customer relationship management (CRM) over the years, and that's people spend so much time, effort, money, and software just to manage the company customer relationship. So you can think about also NFT could be a way to organize that relationship, and also NFT could be a mean. I mean, it's very hard to imagine just because this picture is, spread on the internet or Twitter, it becomes viral, and because it's viral, now this picture sold like 76,000, and people might be wondering why. Well, could it be psychological? Could it be getting attention? Could it be advertisement? You can look at it in a different way, but it happens. It happens, and it's going to continue to happen. And then people can buy NFTs game item. For example, Cryptokitty. You can look at it. People can have new breed and so on, and they can buy a house over here. This house is worthy, you know, $200, $2,000, and they buy the house with different genealogy, different blood color, and different strength, and then they can raise it in the digital world, right? Very exciting, right? And then FDs ID. So nowadays, if you like Twitter, people show off either their wealth or their ownership or whatever they own, put there. For example, this guy, you know, he claimed he owned CryptoPunk, uh, BAYC, all of this. And of course, you can verify if he own it or not, if he showed a public key. So, uh, so, so this kind like almost like a driver license, a new ID in the digital world. And I talk about the WallStreetChat already. So this becomes a membership. For example, if you own one of these NFT, then you are able to go to their website and click this button and then enter a member-only internet, if you like, that you can access the company's information, how much treasury, the balance of the treasury, what investments made, and then if you have dividend you can claim, then you can look at it as well, and then other privilege. So, for example, if you own certain thing, you can do certain actions in the company because the company we call DAO. It's like an anonymous company because you don't even know the real identity of the person, but you know the anonymous identity. Well, for the first time, the two words come together, anonymous identity. You know, you have the identity, but it's anonymous. And that's only thanks to NFT, thanks to blockchain. And at the end of the year, if you hold one of these, you can expect to receive your dividend anonymously. People are also buying digital land in the multiverse. The first time I heard about it, I thought that's crazy. I mean, why? I want to spend $12,000 just to buy a dot on this screen. But now, if you think about it, I mean, the domain name is very expensive. So this is a new way you can think of it, a new way of selling domain name, but even more than that, because domain name is not geographically connected, but here we create a multiverse. The nice thing about a multiverse is they are connected. Every dot over here, they are connected to each other in terms of location, in terms of geography. So they have a neighborhood relationship. So in other words, if your plot, if your meta plot is near a plaza, for example, just like in real life, it could be more expensive because chances are if people are playing in the plaza, they will see your house, they will see your office, they will see your division. So if this is a digital office, you might get more business. One of the things I think about is maybe very soon in the future, a lot of the 1-800 number will be replaced by some of this office in the multiverse. But can NFT connect to real life? Yes. For example, McDonald's or a lady selling, their meal plan as NFT. So if you buy one of these, which is a good discount, then you can eat in McDonald's all year long, for example. Well, that's nice, right? And then also people are buying NFT as redeemable. So if you buy one of these NFT, you can redeem it with a real whiskey. Uh, the other day I talked to my wife. We were discussing what's the advantage of doing that. I can just go and buy the whiskey. Why do I have to buy NFT first? Well, it's almost like if the car you can buy NFT and send to your friend instead of buying the whiskey and send to your friend. You have to ship, and you have to be careful about fragility, box, all of those. Now it's easy because you buy the NFT, you can send to your friend. Or if you want to buy a lot of whiskey, then you have to worry about where you put it, temperature, you know, and all of those you have to worry about. But now you don't need to worry about because you can pick it up only when you need it. You just buy the NFT, you put an NFT in your wallet. So the price never going. If the price go up of whiskey, doesn't bother you because you already have it. So in this way, it's better. You can buy a lot of NFT and put it in your wallet than buy a lot of whiskey, put it in your basement. Okay, so I'm going to summarize my talk with a few questions for you to think about. The first one is NFT is the future or just a hype? Well, you might believe it's going to be a future. And then what are technical challenges? What are the social challenges? Well, technical challenges, of course, security, privacy, money laundering, all of those. And social challenge, a lot of people are actually very resistant as we speak. Maybe because of bad thing happen, maybe because of scamming, maybe because they just don't want to change. But there are a lot of opportunity in terms of, as you can see, selling art, music in a new way, ownership uh, issue resolved, and then all the other multiverse new customer service form, new entertainment form, gaming. So the opportunity is only restricted by our imagination. I mean, it could be many, many, and many of them we cannot even imagine right now. And then it's going to require cultural revolution, change our lifestyle. I know a lot of people don't want to go to digital, but to some extent, we are already there. We use Zoom, we use a phone, we watch YouTube. So how much time we are spending on digital already? Okay, and then the blur, the boundary between digital life and physical life is just our body. I mean, we move our body around. So I mean, once the multiverse become more realistic, you know, what's the difference between we meet people in the multiverse and we meet people in real life, except a few ones that are very closely related to us, like our spouse, our children, or maybe our friends. But the rest of it, we can still establish a very strong bond through your multiverse. And if you really want to see someone, see them, right? There's no taboo over there. But without moving our body around, I think it could save a lot of transportation issue, a lot of stress issue on the road. So they are good and bad. They're good and bad. But of course, psychologically, we also need to be careful because, especially for youth, for people, for children, we need to differentiate reality, especially reality in the game and the real physical reality, because you don't want to be confused between the two. So for that, I'm not an expert. I mean, I'm sure people in neuroscience are studying that, especially during people's brain development. You have to really be able to tell the difference, right? In a gaming, you can lose your life and gain back again, but not your life. You don't want to, you don't want to emulate your gaming life in real life. And then economic revolution might be change the way we invest our money because traditionally we just invest in stocks, but now you can invest in crypto, you can invest in NFT, even for small company that just started. But of course, scamming is another issue. So, but regulation hopefully can come into place and solve this issue. And lastly, it could be a wine in new skin. Many of the traditional community collection, casino games, stocks could be implemented, could be in a new form, and then the possibility could be just unlimited. It could be unlimitedless. Okay, could be unlimited. Finally, so how can we get started? I mean, there are some people who have never touched crypto NFT. If you are one of those people, I will suggest you if you do crypto, go to Coinbase.com, which allows you to connect to your bank. You can shift your money to Coinbase from your bank, and then you can buy some of the crypto there. You can start from top 10 or top 100. The top 10 will be less risky. And then if you have play with that, my suggestion is maybe under $100. Don't spend too much because you're learning. Consider that's like your tuition fee under $100. And then once you feel comfortable, then you can send some of the Ethereum or some of the coin to your wallet, for example, MetaMask. And then you can connect to OpenSea to start explore NFT. So one is crypto, the other is NFT. Okay, so that conclude uh, my talk for blockchain, NFT, and crypto. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.